Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another New World video. Hello, guys. So as you can see on screen right now, we have the dev blog that was released earlier today. And as you can probably see, it is absolutely crazy big. There is a lot to go over and a lot to cover. I'm actually going to summarize them all because I'm sure you don't want me to read this for the next hour. So we're just going to skim over the most important parts of information. So we start off by saying thank you for your feedback and questions since our third edition of Update on Current Issues dev blog. We continue collecting your feedback and questions to find trends of active issues you and our community are interested in learning more about. We appreciate everyone's interest into our communication, and we are going on with New World. And we want to continue being transparent and communicate on how we plan to reach our goals and address outstanding issues. So the first thing they go over is the stability and performance in-game. Now it does say here that not catching the stability and performance bugs in-game was a mistake on their behalf, and it was as a result of them trying to go too fast. They then state that they want to improve the quality of their releases going forward, and that more details will be released soon on once the fixes have been fixed internally and they've been verified that they're working. They're going to push them to the live servers ASAP. But pretty much the reason why the stability and performance is pretty trash since the 1.1 update is because apparently when they introduced the Void Gauntlet, AoEs and status effects are using 10 times the bandwidth that they normally should. And apparently this isn't just isolated to the Void Gauntlet, it's literally any status effect or any AoE that someone puts down, whether it be in a war, invasion, or any group areas, like Merkguard farming for example, just absolutely destroys the bandwidth, and that's why we get stability and performance issue. The next thing they cover is lack of transparency on penalties and appeals when it comes to bans and things like that. So pretty much what people have been complaining of is that they're getting banned or they're getting sanctions put on their account, and it's not actually very clear just how they violated TOS or what they did in order to get their account sanctioned or to get banned. They're not too sure what they did. So they pretty much say going forward, they're going to reduce down some of the categories that you can choose from or the reasons why you got banned. And they're going to try and provide more depth and more coverage in the response that you get so you actually know why you've been banned and what the actual thing you did was. It also says that they're looking at revamping the appeal process to make it more timely and make the communication side of things better and easier to understand. You hopefully won't have to wait as long to get information on why you were banned, and you'll be able to do the appeal more easily. They then just touch on moderation, both in-game and on community spaces like the forums. And it pretty much just says, you know, they want everyone to feel comfortable when they're participating in these areas, and they want to ensure that it's a positive and constructive environment for everyone that partakes in it. They then go on to say that all of the code of conduct and the moderation is done by actual humans and not just some software. Apparently they go through every single report, try and determine the context behind the behavior and player moderation history before they take action against them. And pretty much as they're human, there can be times where they might not make the right decision, and they're going to try and implement some systems in the game and in the forums and stuff like that to make it easier and hopefully less people slip through the cracks. They're also trying to figure out a way that if you submit a report against someone, say they're a phishing bot or they're selling gold or advertising websites or whatever it may be, if you report that player and then they get banned, you're actually going to get some kind of message telling you that the action was taken on the report that you made. You actually know if you report someone who's selling gold and they get banned for selling gold, you may get a message or a little notification telling you that, hey, the guy that you reported was successfully banned. Thank you for helping out. They then go on to talk about the PTR that came. When it comes to the PTR, they basically say thank you for the support and thank you for all the information and feedback that you gave when you were using the PTR. They also say that if you give feedback and it seems like you're being ignored, that you aren't being ignored, and that it might just take a while for the changes to be made in-game, and they have to look into stuff like that because obviously it affects balancing issues and things like that. They also say things like weapon balance and tuning will be constantly monitored and adjusted as New World progresses. They state that in upcoming releases, you can expect to see more changes that reflect the feedback we have received from you, our community, and that they are paying attention to us, and it's not basically just a waste of time using the PTR. As for the undocumented changes in updates, I'm sure you're all aware that there's some unofficial changes to the game, and things that weren't actually in the patch notes that did make it to the live game. They pretty much say that this update included many changes the team made months ago to the game before they branched it with the launch build. They say this long time frame and the size of the patch led to a number of changes that we missed in the release notes. This wasn't intentional, and we're working to improve our processes to ensure more accurate release notes in the future. That is of course a big positive in my opinion. I do believe that if you have patch notes, they should contain absolutely every change that you have added to your game. That is just my opinion though. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. It then goes on to list the whole slew of main changes that were either unintentional or not documented in the patch notes. I do believe there are some more than this though. But for example, they removed elemental quintessences as rewards from gathering elemental creatures. This was an intentional change that we made as a result of the number of these enemies and their spawn rates being much higher than we originally designed the rewards for the creature. So pretty much people were getting quintessences way too quickly and they decided to change that. You will probably also notice that if you've got the Weaver's Knot ring from the Weaver's Fen quest, it actually was a double luck ring. It was the only one in the game, as far as I'm aware. That was not intended, so that has also been changed. It now only has 1 lock stat instead of 2. And there's a bunch of other changes, for example, having your harvesting gear deleted from you. If you want to read more, obviously this will all be linked in the description of the video down below. I'm not going to touch every single one because it'll take far too long for the video. They then talk about crafting and trade skills. They state that every trade skill has its importance to the overall item economy within New World. They say we want most of the things that you can craft at a trade skills cap to be able to be used by players who didn't craft those things, but we also would like some things that are just for the folks who are capable of making them. As we continue development, we will look for opportunities throughout the range of trade skills and endgame. So of course the changes to the trade skills, they just want stuff to be more valuable, they want stuff to actually be meaningful and not just be completely worthless. They then update their stance on add-ons. Our overall goal on any form of add-on is simple. It should not provide any advantage over a player using the regular game client. That means an add-on can reorganize or present the information normally displayed in a different way, or provide information that normally would require a different UI to achieve. The idea with the map add-ons is that they fall under the latter category. We of course have an in-game map, and all they should be doing is displaying that map in a different way. It's okay for the map to have a different artistic style, as long as it's the equivalent information to the in-game map. We are working to see if we can establish a simple and secure way to publish data for add-on use. This would allow them to add functionality not currently available. They then touch on gold selling players and bots. It says based on the changes we've made in previous patches, reports of gold sellers are down 70% from the previous volume. So substantial progress has been made, but there will always be a battle. It then says they're also identifying and banning spam accounts of the gold sellers more quickly, which of course is the people in global chat who just spam the websites and links to them. They say they're banning them more quickly, and the bots that also supply the gold and materials to these gold sellers are getting wiped out more and more quickly each week as well. They're also looking into further ways to prevent bots from intruding on the game experience. And as always, just please continue submitting reports on players in-game so they can more quickly identify them and get rid of them. It then says how the housing points work. Since multiple players can own homes on the same plot, each house is assigned a house score to determine which house is shown to the public. So your total score is based off of 2 factors, your territory standing and your decoration score. The territory standing component of the score is the standing a player has gained in a territory where the house is, since the last time the scores were calculated. If the score is calculated every 2 days, it would be the standing the player gained in the past 2 days on their house's territory. The decoration score is calculated from the items placed within a player's house. It then says down the road we're working on implementing some UI features to help better demonstrate the scoring process. They then go on to talk about harvesting gear. In our latest update, we made a mistake that treated all tiers of the in-game harvesting gear as future content, and unintentionally removed them from the game. This is an embarrassing mistake that is squarely our fault. We also apologize to the players who've had their harvesting and trading disrupted as a result. They then say we're going to work quickly to replace the lost items in the next patch. Any player who ever earned a single piece of this gear will be rewarded with a full set of bind on equip gear. The gear score for the replacement gear will be at the highest limit allowed per tier. This includes all harvesting gear earned, whether you earned it as a loot drop, it was traded to you, or you purchased it from the trading post. The items will be distributed directly to players and show up as an armor chest that will deliver the full set of gear. So if you, for example, bought tier 5 level 60 harvesting gear from the trading post and you had a full set and it's since been deleted, you will get tier 5 level 60 harvesting gear back, but it will be item level 600. So most of you, although you did lose your harvesting gear, Next patch you're probably going to get it back, and it's probably going to be best in slot for whatever tier you had it at. And last but not least is lost housing and compensation. On October 28th we addressed an issue where players lost their houses and potential housing items. While we provided a fix to prevent players from losing their houses and housing items in the future, we were delayed in providing compensation for those who lost their houses. This has now been addressed in the November monthly release. Players who lost their houses during world restarts will have their house restored if they are eligible to own a house in the settlement. If they cannot own another house, the house cost will be refunded and the furnishings returned to their storage. Please visit the settlement to start the restoration or refund. And that's it for the update on the current issues, guys. They then just say thank you very much for reading and they'll see you next time, pretty much. And that's also what I'm about to say, to be honest. So that's it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, like the video. It helps the channel grow. If you want to see more updates like this in the future, don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.